Ready to unlock some timeless wisdom. We're diving into Sun Tzu's The Art of War today,
Oh, fascinating. And you've provided us with excerpts from the book itself and its introduction.
which is perfect.
Yeah,
Even with a text as studied as this, there's always another layer to uncover. So our mission, if you will, is to equip you with the core tenets of Sun Tzu's strategy.
okay.
We'll explore the historical backdrop, its impact over centuries, and just maybe you'll find these ancient tactics surprisingly relevant to your own life today.
You know, what's fascinating is the art of war carries an air of mystery from the very beginning. Like the identity of Sun Tzu himself is debated by scholars. Some argue he was a real general, others believe he may have been like a compilation of military minds.
It makes you wonder, how can a book with so much influence have such an unclear origin?
And that's just it, right?
Yeah.
As the introduction highlights, this very mystery adds to the intrigue. It speaks volumes that a text potentially centuries old with a debated author still holds weight on battlefields, boardrooms, even in personal strategy today.
That's an interesting point. I've always pictured the art of war as a tool for generals and military strategists. To think that its principles resonate beyond warfare is fascinating.
Precisely. And the introduction touches upon this, drawing parallels to its study in Japanese samurai culture and even modern business schools. The book's structure actually plays a key role in its versatility, written in concise chapters, almost like a series of proverbs.
Really?
It's highly adaptable to different situations.
So it's almost like a collection of strategic sound bites.
In a way, yes. Sun Tzu masterfully uses vivid metaphors and real-world examples to illustrate his points. You can open it to any page and find a nugget of wisdom applicable to your own battles, whatever they may be. And that leads us to perhaps the most well-known concept from The Art of War. You ready for this? The powerful trio. Know your enemy, know yourself, and know your battlefield. Sun Tzu argues that mastering these three elements is crucial for achieving victory.
It sounds simple enough, but I imagine there's a lot to unpack within each of those elements. Where do we even begin?
Let's start with knowing your ground, a concept that extends far beyond just, geography. Sun Tzu stresses the importance of terrain analysis, understanding how to leverage natural advantages, and even using seemingly disadvantageous terrain to your benefit. Think of like a narrow passage, easily defensible, even with a smaller force.
So it's like a game of strategic chess, but instead of a board, you're playing on the actual landscape, using mountains and rivers to your advantage.
Precisely. Sun Tzu even highlights the value of local guides. He understood that someone with intimate knowledge of the land holds a strategic advantage, knowing, hidden paths or the best places to ford a river. This principle applies surprisingly well to modern contexts, too.
That makes sense. So how does this translate to, say, a business negotiation? You're not exactly scouting for mountains and rivers in a boardroom.
True, but think of it this way. Knowing your ground in a negotiation could be about understanding, like, the market trends, the competitive landscape, even the personality and motivations of the person sitting across from you.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this ancient wisdom can be applied to modern-day scenarios. So we've explored the battlefield, but what about knowing your enemy? That seems crucial, too.
Absolutely. Sun Tzu stresses the importance of intelligence gathering. He advises using spies and deception to understand your opponent's strengths, weaknesses, even their psychology.
It reminds me of that incredible story about the Chinese general Pan Chao, who used his captives so brilliantly.
An excellent example. Pan Chao turned his captives into, unwitting double agents, feeding misinformation to their comrades. It's a powerful illustration of using deception and manipulation to gain a strategic edge. But, as Sun Tzu emphasizes, knowing your enemy also means recognizing their strengths and not underestimating them.
So it's about having a realistic picture, not letting your own biases cloud your judgment. It sounds like Sun Tzu wants us to really get inside the minds of our opponents.
Exactly. Which leads us to the third and perhaps most important element of the trio, knowing yourself. Sun Tzu believed that a keen understanding of your own strengths and weaknesses, your resources and limitations, is paramount.
That makes sense. After all, if you don't know your own army's capabilities, how can you hope to lead them effectively, let alone to victory?
Precisely. And this introspection applies as much to individuals as it does to armies. Sun Tzu provides a fascinating insight when he outlines the 5 dangerous faults of a general.
Oh, this sounds intriguing. I'm all ears.
Well, one of the faults he lists is over-solicitude for his men. Now, this might seem, counterintuitive. You'd think caring for your troops is a good thing, right?
Yes, absolutely. What's wrong with a general caring for his men?
Sun Tzu argues that while compassion is important, a general can't let it cloud his judgment. He can't let empathy for his troops compromise a strategic advantage. Sometimes making tough decisions is necessary for the greater good.
It's fascinating how Sun Tzu connects seemingly positive traits like compassion to potential pitfalls in leadership.
Yeah, it speaks to the depth and complexity of his strategic thinking.
Right.
He challenges our assumptions about leadership. It's
Yeah.
not enough to be brave or caring.
Right.
A true leader needs a balanced understanding of when to apply those qualities.
And the art of war is full of these thought-provoking concepts.
Oh, yeah.
You've talked about knowing yourself and your enemy,
Right.
but there's another layer we need to explore: deception and surprise.
Okay.
How does Sun Tzu weave these elements into his strategy?
This is where the concepts of Cheng and Qi come in.
Okay.
Cheng represents the orthodox,
Right.
the expected maneuvers in warfare.
Uh-huh.
Qi, on the other hand, is the unorthodox, the unpredictable.
So it's about keeping your opponent guessing, disrupting their expectations.
Exactly. Sun Tzu argues that predictability makes you vulnerable.
Right.
If your enemy knows your every move, they can easily counter them.
Yeah.
But if you can introduce an element of surprise, you gain a significant advantage.
It reminds me of that famous story of Han Xin's deceptive river crossing.
Oh, yes.
A brilliant example of qi in action.
Absolutely. Han Xin feigned a retreat, leading his opponents to believe he was weak and vulnerable.
Right.
But it was all part of a calculated plan.
Wow.
He secretly dispatched a force to cross the river upstream, and they launched a surprise attack.
Wow.
The enemy, caught off guard, was utterly defeated.
It's incredible how these ancient tactics still resonate today,
Yeah.
especially in fields like business or even personal relationships.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes you need that element of surprise to gain an edge.
Indeed. And speaking of gaining an edge, Sun Tzu also emphasizes the importance of momentum.
Okay.
He stresses the need for swift, decisive action.
Right.
Prolonged conflicts, he argues, can drain your resources and morale, giving your opponent time to regroup
Yeah.
or for new threats to emerge.
It's like the old saying, strike while the iron is hot.
Precisely. A prime example is the concept of burning your boats. This metaphor, often attributed to Sun Tzu, highlights the power of commitment and creating a sense of no return.
So you're saying that sometimes to achieve victory, you need to eliminate any possibility of retreat.
Exactly. By removing your safety net, you create a sense of urgency,
Right.
a do-or-die mentality that can propel you forward.
Yeah.
It's a risky strategy, but one that Sun Tzu argues can lead to decisive victories.
It's fascinating how the art of war transcends its military origins.
Yeah,
It's a testament to the enduring power of strategic thinking.
it really is.
But how do we, as individuals in the 21st century, actually apply these principles?
That's the question, isn't it? Sun Tzu challenges us to become more aware, more strategic in our thinking.
Right.
Whether we're facing a challenging negotiation, pursuing a creative endeavor, or simply navigating the complexities of our daily life, his principles offer valuable insights.
So it's not just about winning wars, it's about winning in life.
Precisely. It's
Yeah.
about understanding ourselves, our opponents, and the playing field. It's about making calculated moves, embracing calculated risks, and always seeking that strategic advantage.
Sun Tzu reminds us that knowledge without application is meaningless.
Right.
It's a call to action to take these principles and apply them to our own battlefields.
Well said.
And as we wrap up this deep dive into Sun Tzu's The Art of War, I want to thank you for guiding us through these ancient yet surprisingly relevant strategies.
It's been my pleasure.
And to our listeners, we hope you've gained some valuable insights today.
Yes.
Remember, know yourself, know your enemy, and know your ground. This has been The Deep Dive, your shortcut to being well-informed. Until next time.